Section 2:2 Introduction to Alpha 2.2 Risk-Adjusted Performance Measures. Risk-adjusted performance measures are useful tools for evaluating investment performance by considering the level of risk taken. Two widely used risk-adjusted performance measures are the Sharpe ratio and the information ratio. Sharpe ratio. The Sharpe ratio measures the excess return of an investment or portfolio per unit of risk. It is calculated by dividing the difference between the portfolio's average return and the risk-free rate by the standard deviation of the portfolio's returns. The formula for the Sharpe ratio is as follows: Sharpe ratio equals portfolio return, risk-free rate, / portfolio standard deviation. A higher Sharpe ratio indicates better risk-adjusted performance, as it suggests a higher return relative to the level of risk taken. The Sharpe ratio allows for comparisons between investments or portfolios, with a higher ratio indicating a more efficient use of risk to generate returns. Information ratio. The information ratio measures the excess return of an investment or portfolio relative to a benchmark per unit of active risk. It evaluates the value added by active management decisions. The formula for the information ratio is as follows: information ratio equals portfolio return, benchmark return, / tracking error. The tracking error represents the standard deviation of the difference between the portfolio's returns and the benchmark's returns. A higher information ratio indicates better risk-adjusted performance relative to the benchmark. The information ratio is particularly useful for evaluating the skill of active portfolio managers or investment strategies that aim to outperform a benchmark. It measures the manager's ability to generate excess returns beyond what would be expected based on the tracking error. Both the Sharpe ratio and the information ratio are valuable risk-adjusted performance measures, but they focus on different aspects. The Sharpe ratio considers the risk-free rate and the overall portfolio standard deviation, while the information ratio focuses on the excess return relative to a benchmark and the tracking error. When using risk-adjusted performance measures, it's important to consider the limitations. These measures rely on historical data, assumptions, and the selected time period, which can impact their accuracy. Moreover, risk-adjusted measures should be used alongside other performance metrics and qualitative factors to get a comprehensive understanding of investment performance. The measures of alpha, Sharpe ratio, and information ratio are related as they all assess investment performance in relation to risk. Here's how they relate to each other. Alpha measures the excess return of an investment or portfolio relative to a benchmark. After adjusting for risk, it evaluates the value added or subtracted by a portfolio manager's investment decisions. Positive alpha indicates outperformance, while negative alpha suggests underperformance. Alpha is an absolute measure that focuses on the excess return achieved beyond what would be expected based on the level of risk. Sharpe ratio. The Sharpe ratio measures the excess return of an investment or portfolio per unit of risk. It quantifies the risk-adjusted return by considering the difference between the portfolio's average return and the risk-free rate, divided by the portfolio's standard deviation. The Sharpe ratio is a relative measure that helps compare different investments or portfolios based on the efficiency of risk taken to generate returns. Alpha contributes to the numerator of the Sharpe ratio as it represents the excess return above the risk-free rate. Information ratio. The information ratio measures the excess return of an investment or portfolio relative to a benchmark per unit of active risk. It evaluates the value added by active management decisions beyond what would be expected based on the tracking error. The information ratio is a relative measure that focuses on the excess return relative to a benchmark and the tracking error. Alpha contributes to the numerator of the information ratio as it represents the excess return above the benchmark. In summary, alpha is an absolute measure of excess return above a benchmark, while the Sharpe ratio and information ratio are relative measures that assess the risk-adjusted performance. Alpha contributes to the numerators of both the Sharpe ratio and information ratio, highlighting the value added beyond what would be expected based on risk or benchmark performance. These measures collectively provide insights into investment performance, risk management, and the skill of portfolio managers or investment strategies.